I'm about to lay out a 2-page corporate proposal template that completely rocked my client's world. Let's dive in. Consultants who are scaling from 200K a year to 2 million plus a year often run into a super common problem, which is that you spend hours and hours and tons of time and energy and team resources pouring yourself into multi-page proposals that close only half the time. So hours of time that you're not getting paid for go into deals that you only close a portion of the time. So how do you overcome that? Number one, by getting really great at the discovery process and really great at understanding your client's needs and communicating the value of your offering. But also you overcome this challenge by getting really good at creating concise, effective proposals. The 5-step proposal template I'm about to outline for you in this video has been used by clients who sell communications consulting, who sell leadership development, HR consulting, culture change, to land deals valued at anywhere from $25,000 to $250,000. Yes, $250,000 from a short 2-page proposal. So you definitely want to pay attention to this video, walk with me through, or go with me as I walk you through the steps of what this proposal template can look like, because this is going to transform your business. It's going to allow you to show up as a concise, focused speaker, as a person who can concisely and clearly convey the value of the work that you do. And it's also going to save you a ton of time in the selling process. Let's dive in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eleanor Beaton. I'm a founder of a company called Safi Media. We are on a mission to double the number of women entrepreneurs who sustainably scale past 1 million by 2030. And our unique specialty is working with women consultants and service providers scaling from 200K to 2 million plus. If you're new here, definitely hit subscribe to this channel and don't miss a single video. Every week, we're going to be hitting you with really practical, tactical videos to help you scale your company from 200K to 2 million plus. All right, before we dive into the 5 components of the 2-page simplified corporate proposal template, I've got to address the elephant in the room. Consultants and service providers have this belief that if you're going for a big deal, it means you need to put together a big, long proposal. You are conflating a big deal with a big proposal. And what I can tell you as somebody who has closed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of B2B sales with organizational buyers, my biggest deals have often come from quite short, concise proposals. And I mean, think about it. If you're selling to an organization, they are hiring you to help them bring clarity to an issue. They are hiring you and your organization to help them effectively solve and simplify a complex situation that they can't solve on their own. If you come back and hit them with a 25-page proposal that nobody reads, you are basically reinforcing the fact that you're just adding to that complexity, and you are training them to see your words as irrelevant. Think about the message that that's sending. We never want to train people to look at us and our work as irrelevant or overly complex. So the key to mastery and the key to being able to communicate the value of your offerings with concision and precision is to be concise and clear. And that's what this 2-page proposal template allows you to do. To download the complete checklist, just go into the description of this video and you'll see a link where you can go and just download the proposal template so that you can copy, paste, and make it your own. All right, let's dive into the 5 steps of the simplified corporate proposal template. That is going to be such a game changer and save you so much time and energy as you're producing these proposals. So the first part of this proposal is the challenge and the goal. People don't hire people for no reason. Your organizations are hiring you to solve a challenge and to accomplish a goal. And the degree to which you are able to clearly state what is the challenge that they're bringing us in to address, and what is their desired outcome from this goal, from this work, the more you're able to nail that on the bullseye, the higher your chances of closing this deal will be. Here's a tip. When you are doing your discovery process, when you are talking to your lead, you're talking to the champion, you're sort of getting as much detail as you can to put together the best proposal you can, you're going to get a lot of information. And if you're like me, you're probably going to have pages and pages of notes. You're going to be, asking them to clarify, you're going to be restating to check for understanding. But here's a killer question you definitely want to weave into the process. After I've gotten as much information as possible, what I will say to my prospective client is this: I'll lean in and I'll say, okay, this has been wonderful, and I've got just one more question for you on this. If you were to define the challenge you want me to help you solve in one sentence, what would that one sentence be? Listen, consultants, sometimes you're doing too much work. You got to let your client do some of that work for you and really have them articulate in a single sentence, what are they bringing you in to solve? What I would say also with the goal is make sure that you do some math with your client. So here's an example. I was working with a leadership consulting organization who were selling into corporate. And they basically, when companies take a big surge in growth, it starts to create a lot of strain. And so they work with organizations to help them build the leadership capacity of their teams to sustain that growth and not backslide. Their goal is to maintain that growth. And so I said, well, have you talked to them about how much additional growth that is in a year? Do you know what percentage it is? Do you know what their revenues are? And a lot of times consultants are going in and bidding on projects. You don't even know the revenues or the growth rates of the company you're bidding on. And only then are you able to really articulate, here's the challenge. You made $500,000 in additional profit last year. If you don't develop your leadership team, you run the risk of sacrificing that growth. Okay. And it also helps you position your pricing later. Okay. So that's the challenge and the goal. Next part, project overview. This is where people get really into the detail. Let's keep this brief too. And a project overview is always broken into 3 different parts. Number 1, you want to describe the project briefly. And literally 2 or 3 sentences. This is a 2-day facilitated leadership team retreat. That's it. Okay. Why? This is the key. You need to explain the value and the importance of this project. So for instance, these leadership consultants that I was sharing with you, because they work with organizations, small and mid-sized companies who've taken a big leap in growth, the biggest fear that those leadership teams have is that they're not going to be able to sustain the growth, or they're going to backtrack. So if I were putting together a proposal, a leadership development proposal, and I were talking about why leadership development is so important for this organization now, what I might say is this: your company grew by 30% in the last 12 months. This represents an additional $1.2 million in revenue. The importance of this leadership development project is to not just sustain that growth so that we can see if we can increase that growth to 2 million in the next year. It's also to make sure that you don't backtrack. So this is about preserving the growth that you have and adding to it over the next few years. That would be an example of how I might really position the value. I'm not just going to say, this is about improving the communication effectiveness between your senior leadership team. You can see one is putting it in a business context and one is putting it in a more relational context. You want to have both when you are communicating the value of what you do. Otherwise, your proposal risks being seen as a cost center, not a growth driver. And you never want your proposal to be seen as a cost center and not a growth driver. All right, and then the third part of the project overview is to outline the process and the engagement duration. And again, keep this fairly high level. Look, this is going to be a 4-month process. It's going to, here's the key stages, and here's what you can expect. So we want to keep this project overview in bullet form and fairly concise. The third part of this is going to be the investment. And here's where you state the financial cost and ensure the pricing is clear and unambiguous. Now, it's not the scope of this video, but you never want to hit a client. You never just want to throw a number at a client when you're doing a proposal. You always want to go in knowing, do they have a budget? What is it? What have they invested in this type of thing before? It doesn't mean you have to keep your proposal in their requested budget. It just means that you need to know what you're working with. So if your proposal is twice what they've budgeted, that you are able to justify that in the course of the proposal itself. From there, we go into a company overview. overview, you need to be disciplined. You want to provide a very brief 3 to 4 line overview of your company, and you want to share your most important social proof and to establish credibility. So again, you really want to pick 2 or 3 credibility things, awards you've won, clients you've served, results you've driven, partnerships that you have to really establish your credibility, but keep this piece brief as well. And then finally, timeline and next steps. So provide a clear timeline for what the project milestones are and describe immediate next steps post-proposal acceptance. The best salespeople understand that when you sell onboarding, when you move people past signing the deal into onboarding, it really helps create forward momentum in your selling process and increases the likelihood of you being able to close this deal because your prospect can see where you're headed, and being able to visualize the path is really, really key when you're selling something intangible like a service or consulting. I hope you find that this proposal overview is useful. Again, if you actually want the simplified proposal checklist, simply go to the description of this video and click the link where you can download it totally for free. And if you would like to really advance and improve how you sell B2B, definitely go ahead and click the link to book a growth audit with our team. We can take a look at your selling process, see if there's opportunities to sharpen and tighten it up. Thanks so much for watching. What insights do you have? What tips do you have about how to really effectively sell B2B? Go ahead and post them in the comments so we can all learn from one another, and definitely hit subscribe to this channel so you never miss another video.